Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to NH First Golf. So today in this video, we're going to do a club review. So as you all know, in the beginning of this year, if you guys follow NH First Golf, NH First Impact Later, and I talked about that, I actually purchased it and ordered the one length Cobra, one length irons. Is the Cobra Forge Tech King. All right, King Forge Tech one length. So I ordered it. The reason why is that because I had a lot of client ask me, hey, do you recommend me getting the one length? The truth is, to me, the one length. I mean, obviously, it's been out there. The idea, is not new, but obviously, with Bryson DeChambeau and the one length, it's becoming sort of like a trend. So a lot of people ask me that question, say, hey, what do you think about this? Should I get them? Should I play with them? Now, the one length is actually fundamentally is different than all the clubs that, we are familiar with, the variable length. So again, this video isn't about club fitting. It's just about understanding the different specs and what is my personal experience playing this one length club for the past year. Now, I got this club back in February and it's already November, so I've played with them for almost a year. And then it's time to do this review. And also, as y'all can see, our channel is really not about club reviews. We don't do club reviews or equipment reviews. This is not the channel for it. But this is a little bit different. And also, we don't talk about club fitting. And the truth is, we believe that if you don't have a golf swing, it's very difficult for you to do the club fitting. So again, that's a whole different topic and subject. But today I want to make sure just talk about do the review, really more of a personal experience, what I think about the one length and would I continue use it or I will stop use it. So today we're going to talk about it. Really just in my personal experience with playing with the one length irons this entire year. Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. We now have a personal swing analysis and also we offer personal instructional video. We have our own golf gloves, belts, shirts, hats, and bucket hats. If you're interested, please click on the Shopify link below. And don't forget to click like and subscribe to our channel. And please continue watching this video. Okay, so as you can see right now, I have two sets of clubs, really. This is the Cobra Forge Tech, King Forge Tech, and I also have another set of irons. This is Wilson blades. And as you can see, they're all variable irons. Now, I actually purposely ordered this irons for this video. As you can see, I have the exact same shaft. Okay, this is the steel fiber 111 I-111 constant weight CW. Both set of clubs has the exact same shaft. Okay, so what is my first impression when I first opened up the one length golf clubs? I was very excited and I was very looking forward to see that because again, I wasn't able to answer some of the questions most of my client asked me. Say, what do you think? Should I use it? So I say, well, I don't know. I have never played with them, so I can't really give you a honest assessment. Should you or should you not play it? That's the reason why I got these clubs. So my first impression when I opened up the box was that obviously they're all one length, okay? And I have the 5 to gab wedge. So I got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitching wedge and a gab wedge. Okay, and over here I have a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitching wedge. All right, we're going to talk about what I see and what I know now as far as the spec wise. So when I first see the clubs, the first thing jumping in my head was, wait a minute. I noticed that there's difference in the steps. As you can see from the camera, you can see there's a difference in the sort of a cutting of the length, as you can see here, because obviously this is variable. Okay, so that was my first question. I say, wait a minute, how come if this is one length, why wouldn't it be the same length as far as the making of the club, or when they build a club? Why are they having steps? Now obviously when you have these steps right here stepping down, that means the flex point is going to be different. So that was my first reaction. Okay, now when I order these clubs, everything that I have here is standard length, standard specs. All the lofts here on the club face, they're standard. Okay, now all the light angle is also standard, which you will see in the next picture. That's from the King Cobra Golf website. The light angle on the 5 irons, the longer irons, they're much more, it's higher. So the toe is higher. And then with the shorter clubs like the gab wedge, the pitching wedge, and they're flatter, which is the exact opposite of the variable irons. Okay, but again, like I say, when I order these clubs, everything, all the specs are standard. I just order the shaft. So I didn't tell them do anything as far as how do you cut the shaft. I just say, okay, this is the shaft I order. I want to put it on the club, and you guys build it. So there's no specification. So I just said that, everything is standard specification. So I was kind of surprised when I see the steps of the 1 iron. Okay, but now that was just one of the questions, and we're gonna get into it. And then obviously I got the clubs. It took me about, I'd say maybe a week to get used to. Really just the length, but it wasn't that hard to get used to. It was easy. I mean, I just feel like it's just a golf club and I'm gonna swing with it. So surprisingly, the longer clubs was actually easier to adapt to get comfortable with. It is the shorter irons, mainly really the wedges, like the pitching wedge, and the gab wedge. It actually took me a while to get used to. And also with other wedges like my 50A and my 54, they're actually variable wedges. But with this two, the pitching wedge and the gab, it took me a while to get used to. Okay, so, and I play with them. So the longer irons are definitely, actually, surprisingly, it was actually easier to swing, and I like them a lot. The long irons, okay, and the short irons, and they're okay. They're not. I mean, I really actually have to pay kind of attention to swing with them. So what is the results? They do, all the clubs here, they do give me different distance, okay, which is kind of surprising. They do give me distance based on 10 yards or 8 yards difference. All right, but the problem, what I didn't really like it, is that the long iron and the short iron, the trajectories are too drastic. Means the long irons are much lower, the short irons are much higher. When I say much higher, they are like really, really high up. So that's one thing it's not that I couldn't swing with it, it's just visually I wasn't able to get used to. Even really now, but I can overcome it. I didn't mind it, but I just didn't get used to it because the pitching wedge and the gap wedge, they were just going way, way high up. Okay. Now, obviously, the club head and the club it's got a really high face. The distance is not a problem. It's just the shorter clubs has a very high ball flight. So in the wind, it gets kind of tricky. All right. So then when I realized, like I said, when I first opened up the box, I saw this stepping down. So I went to the PGA Superstore and I also just went to different retail stores and check out the stock shafts on the one length. And little that all of them is stepping, has steps. So in other words, it looks kind of like this, obviously, with different shaft labels, but you can feel it and see that they do have steps, which means they cut differently. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just the standard way of cutting the shafts. All right. Now, I personally think the reason why they do that is because the longer clubs, because they're same length, so the longer clubs, if you want more distance, it's got to have a little bit more flex point, so give a little bit more kick, so that way it does give you a little bit more distance, because obviously they're one length. So I think that's one of the elements of the cutting of the shaft, where the different steps, obviously this is going to be a little bit more flexible and this is going to be less flexible. So it will give you the difference in the distance. I think that's one of the elements of difference in the changes in the distance throughout the whole set of the one length iron. Okay, so everything else is standard, right? Now, would I continue to play with this one length? No, not with this set, because, like I said, I actually was very easy. It was very easy to use the 4, 5, 6 long irons. It's the shorter clubs, and the truth is, the shorter clubs like the gab wedge, the pitching wedge, the 9 irons, even the 8 irons, they are actually has less workability because they are one length. So I mean, I like to work the ball. I like to hit swing certain distance, control the distance. So I find it extremely difficult to actually have some kind of variation or some type of shot making ability with the shorter irons, 9 iron, pitching wedge, and the gab wedge. So you can do a full swing, but there's just no any ability to change or to have some kind of a manipulation of the swing. I just find it difficult to do so. It's not that I couldn't, but I find it difficult, and sometimes I do miss swing and miss hit it, right? So this is one of the biggest things I realize that's questionable. So in the future, if I do talk to the manufacturers that make one length, if they do make one length, I would say, hey, maybe I need to get fitted. And the way I have the impression is almost like if I have a one length clutch, should I have the same length, same cutting of the shaft, because the same length, and then the same light angle. Now, obviously, then everything would be the same. The only difference would be the loft of the club head. That would be something else in the future, maybe for me to experience. But like I was telling you guys earlier, when you buy the stock shaft, and even when I call Covert, order it on their website with all the instructions how I want them with standard, that's how they came in. Okay, so with one length, for me, because the less workability with the shorter clubs, I don't find them, for me personally, enjoyable to play with it. Okay, now I'm playing with this set, the variable right now. I just got these clubs recently, okay, like a couple weeks ago, and as you can see, they all have steps, and which makes sense, obviously, because they're variable, right? And also the club heads are the longer clubs. The line angle is flatter, and then the shorter irons, they're a little bit higher. All right, so those are really all the information that throughout the whole entire year that I play with these clubs really just experienced. But I mean, I didn't mind playing with them. I just feel like, again, the shorter clubs I have a hard time work the ball or control distance. And also, my question regarding the one length is that, well, why the shaft is cut like that, and why is the line angle different, even if they are one length? So if I do try them in the future, the next time if I get a set, I would probably like to get fitted, maybe just to see what it feels like to have all the shaft cut the same way and the light angle is the same. Now obviously with different lofts, and see what happens. But right now, again, that was just a pure experiment, and I don't know when I'm gonna do that again. Maybe talk to the one length manufacturers like King Cobra, and there's actually one company called the One Length, and then we'll see what happens. So overall, that's just my personal experience and all the information I can give you regarding playing the one length. The long iron, surprisingly, is actually easy to get used to swing with. With this specs right here, they do give me different distance. And with the shorter clubs, the gab wedge, the pitching wedge, the ball goes really high. There's less workability. So, but again, like I say, there's a tweak. You might be able to tweak the difference in the specs if you go fit them. But like I say, everything I got is just stock. The only thing that's different is just I ordered the shaft that's put it in. But everything else, the specification is completely stocked. All right, so that's it. I mean, really, that's all the information there is. I mean, I still feel like, when I swing these clubs, the ball come off the face very hot. I mean, it has a good, really good feel to it. I really like that. It's just like I said, of course, during the winter time when it gets too windy, when the ball goes way too high with the gab wedge and the pitching wedge, that's not ideal. But like I say, I like to work the ball. I like to control distance. And this set of clubs, it did not give me the option. It wasn't that great. And I do believe, I don't know that for a fact. I do believe like inside 130 yards, Bryson DeChambeau, it's not that great in that distance. So that's what I heard. But again, like I say, we don't really do a lot of club reviews. All we're doing is just telling you, I believe, because there's a difference in the sort of general principle of a design that's different between the one length and the variable. And that's the reason why I play the one length for 1 year to understand, or just at least I know what I'm talking about. So every time when someone asks me that question, and I will know how to answer them based on my experience. So that's the reason why I did it, and I used it this year. So that way, as a teacher, so I have something to tell people when someone asks me that particular question. All right, so that's it. So if you guys have any questions, leave a comment, click like to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the button right here, and also don't forget to click on the 2 videos right here if you want to know more about NH First Impact later. And I will see you next time.